Protestant. And I went down to the demonstration to get my fair share of abuse, singing, "We're gonna vent our frustration. If we don't, we're gonna blow a 50 amp fuse. You can't always get what you want. You can't always get what you want. But if you try sometime, well, you just might find you get what you need." Wasn't really sure I would make it as far as Union Square Park today. Heard on 1010 Winds News Radio that the Strand used bookstore on West 12th Street and Broadway had been broken into and looted by the mob of rioting marauders the night before, who had hauled off a first edition copy of the unabridged complete 15 volumes of The History of Western Civilization by Will and Ariel Durant. Those volumes are really quite neat, which lies on my usual taxi cab route to the park. So I had my trepidations. Perhaps no cabs would even be available for street hails. You know, my friend who used to work at the Strand asked, wondering, how? I mean, has it been reopened? I mean, there are gates that cover all the windows. No, it has not been reopened. The looters simply smashed the windows and looted. Them gates don't stop looters. Neither do plywood boards nailed up covering the windows. They just rip them down. You don't remember the 1977 blackout in the city. Gates and plywood stopped nobody. I was up here in Rockland County that summer. All my relatives all smashed themselves into one little car and drove up to stay with us. Well, take my word for it. Broadway in Manhattan and Burnside Avenue, the Grand Concourse of the Bronx, were littered with ripped-down steel gates and plywood boards during the 77 blackout. I was lucky enough to snag what probably turned out to be the last empty yellow cab south of 14th Street that afternoon in front of the Northwell Emergency Center, the one-time St. Vincent's ER. Riding down West 10th Street, we passed numerous boarded-up storefront plate glass windows of the various antiquarian consignment shops lining the sidewalks between Fifth Avenue and Broadway, but our path remained unobstructed by demonstrators, protesters, or rioters. The main post office, Cooper Union Square branch, was still intact and operational, so I was able to forward more of my ex-wife Janet's undeliverable mail to her parents' home in upstate New York's Rockland County, where she fled months earlier at the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic lockdown back in March. The last great societal disaster, which now seemed like, ages ago. Afterwards, hobbling up 4th Avenue on twin aluminum canes, I stopped off at the local Bengali smoke shop for my daily dose of Seagram's seltzer water. As I was paying for my sodas and a fellow customer was playing her lotto numbers on the counter, the noise of an oncoming crowd wafted inside the store. "Good thing I played my numbers before the protesters got here. You better close up before they get here and trash your place," she warned the proprietor. "I'm going to close up shop right now." It wasn't even 5:30 yet. Across 4th Avenue, a crew of carpenters and contractors were driving screws using power tools into huge slabs of plywood, covering the plate glass windows of the Union Square Fine Wines and Liquor store. Scorched spots on the sidewalk cement show where fires had blazed in garbage barrels and trash piles during the chaos of the previous night. I better get across 14th Street before the looters block my path to the park. Whose streets are streets? Whose streets are streets? Whose streets are streets? Too late. The crowds of chanting protesters had already reached Union Square, all marching down the middle of the street in front of the Zeckendorf Towers complex. Police SUVs, lights flashing on the roofs, were already blocking off northbound traffic on 4th Avenue. What to do now? Already, the nervous, uniformed doormen of the luxury high-rise on the block were locking down their lobbies for street traffic. So I hobbled up to the street, to the intersection, and tried to cross. Hands up, don't shoot! Hands up, don't shoot! Hands up, don't shoot! Police in full riot gear surround the crosswalk, and steel police barriers block my path. But the demonstrators are given free passage. Apparently, the only way to cross over the thoroughfare seems to be to join them as they march, taking a sharp right turn uptown on Lafayette Street as they head north toward Times Square. which is still many blocks ahead. Black Lives Matter! 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 I joined them, staggering to keep pace as they head towards the park, marching shoulder to shoulder with the demonstrators brandishing their hand-scrolled cardboard signs of outrage. I can't breathe! I can't breathe! I can't breathe! I can't breathe. My progress along with the other marchers is documented by a throng of television news cameras, videotaping the demonstration, as well as a mass of handheld iPhones filming the proceedings. Now I wonder if anyone I know is going to catch my image on YouTube, the cable networks, or the evening news later that day. As soon as my section of the march reaches the 15th Street entrance's granite steps to Union Square Park, I quickly break off under the watchful eyes of the paunchy, middle-aged New York City cops. I rush inside, quickly stagger over to my usual line of park benches under the watchful eyes of the Marquis de Lafayette bronze statue on the east side, and finally collapse in a pile of sweaty black t-shirts with a loud gasp of relief. It has now been 88 straight days that I haven't made it to my usual spot in Union Square Park, from the very beginning of the COVID-19 virus pandemic quarantine and through the Black Lives Matter protest. Part 2. The general waits outside the West Side Market and tells people, "Hey man, you better watch it. Them looters is coming this way down 7th Avenue. They come through here last night. They set fire to my blanket. They set fire to my pillow. They set fire to all my shit. They ain't fucking around. They really mean business. They ain't fucking stopping for nothing. Hey, in the meantime, you got any spare change for me, son?"